What's going on, everybody? Mike Critical here. So the other day I was browsing Twitter. I'm sure most of you know what Twitter is. It's a social media app. So I was browsing Twitter and I saw this tweet from, it was an account called Respectful Memes. Now this is a very well-respected account. Surely I can trust that they wouldn't be posting misinformation. But the account called Respectful Memes posted a tweet that reads, in quote, "Did you know? In the movie Interstellar, the water planet scenes were shot on Earth." Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Interstellar, it was a movie that came out in, I think, 2014. Let me double check that. I'm currently on Google, which is one of the most trusted sources of information. So yes, it does say 2014, which means I am indeed correct. Interstellar was a movie that came out in 2014. Now, now they did say that it was nonfiction, so the movie was supposed to tell truthful events that happened in American history. So I'm going to be completely honest, my butthole is utterly flaming right now, knowing that they would spread misinformation within a movie that claims to be nonfiction like this. So as I currently mentioned, the movie Interstellar was shot on Earth during its water planet scene. Now, in the movie, they claim that the water planet is its own planet and indeed not on Earth. And in fact, you see footage of them flying a rocket spaceship all the way to this water planet. So unfortunately, that does mean that they were indeed lying. As I mentioned, this is a non-fictional movie. So it's very disappointing to see. Now, I did indeed actually do more research on this, and I actually looked more into it and found out that everything within this movie was filmed on Earth. That includes the water planet, that includes the other planets that I forgot. I didn't really watch the movie in a long time, I'm going to be honest. But everything else that's like, outer space, I think there was a cold planet at some point. Everything else was filmed on Earth, which means they were just completely lying about the whole thing. In fact, if you look at this image, actually, if we take a look back at this image, you can see that the cool little contraption buddy that was in the movie that, kind of spun around, he was kind of cool. It looks like he's being suspended on strings, which means that that was also faked. That was very faked. And I'm very disappointed to see that, because as this movie claimed, it was supposed to be based on true events. And as you can see, nothing about this is true. This is all fake. Now, as an advocate for correct information, I'm very disappointed, as I mentioned, to see this. I would hope that when a big studio claims that they are telling the truth, I would hope that they are telling the truth. Now, it looks like this is a clear example of a company trying to, farm views by telling lies. And this is one of the biggest lies, personally, I've ever seen in my entire life. It makes my throbbing cock throb even more, knowing that a big studio like this would farm clicks like this, as you might call it. Now, unfortunately, let's make sure we understand something here. This movie costs money to watch, okay? If you watched it in theaters, you had to pay for the theater stub. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to move my chair and my dog is in the way. Move. Good girl. As I was saying, if you got a ticket, don't lay down now. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Yes, you're a good girl. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh, right. So the theater, the ticket probably costs anywhere between $5 to $10 at the time. 2014 was not that long ago, so you can probably equate it to current day ticket prices. So you had to spend money to be able to watch it in the theater, or if you got it home on DVD, you had to rent it. Okay, you had to rent it. Now, I understand that some of you may have actually rented it from the library, which is free. But let's make sure we understand something here, okay? It's not as free as you think. Let me elaborate. Sorry, I had to burp right there. Let me elaborate, okay? So while it may seem like renting a movie from the library is free, it's not actually. You see, your money goes to the library anyway through taxpayer dollars. Now, I don't know if I'm actually correct on that. I didn't bother to research, but it would be safe to assume that it's probably taking taxpayer dollars in order to fund the libraries. So you're still paying for the library, you're still renting the movie. So no matter how you look at it, you had to pay for this movie. And in case you're thinking, oh, well, I just pirated the movie, I watched it on 123movies.com, well, you still have to pay for your internet access or your phone service. And you also had to pay for the phone. So one way or another, you had to pay to watch this movie. So knowing that, that means you had to pay to be lied to. And personally speaking, I do find this very disappointing. And if you personally find it disappointing, I would actually recommend that you potentially file a lawsuit, as no matter how much money you spent, you could possibly be entitled to getting your $5 back in the court of law. Just saying. So that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about. I'm personally very disappointed to find this out. In fact, let me take the 5 seconds to do some research. Let me find out who made this movie. Let's see, the director was Christopher Nolan. So let me do some research on Christopher Nolan real quick. Christopher Nolan, he's a British-American filmmaker. Now, the fact that he's British already makes me, completely aware of the fact that he would be willing to farm clicks for likes, as that's a common British thing. But if I'm taking a look on his IMDb, I'm actually looking at this real time on Google.com. Now, personally, I wouldn't use other sites like Bing or what's the other search engines? What is there, like Yahoo, DuckDuckGo? I wouldn't use search engines like this. I would use Google, because Google is the most trusted site for information. As you know, when you look something up, usually the first thing that pops up is Wikipedia, and as we know, Wikipedia is a very trusted site. Now, if you go on sites like Bing or elsewhere, they might give you something else, like the Federal Bureau of Investigations or the FDA. No, we don't look at sites like that. Those are .org sites, and I don't trust .org sites. So anyway, if we take a look at IMDb, looks like he was the executive producer for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, as we know, Zack Snyder's Justice League is based on fictional events. So that's already one movie that is completely fake, right? He also filmed Justice League, which is completely different from Zack Snyder's Justice League. And as we know, that also was fake. He was a producer for a movie called Tenet. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch Tenet, and I'm pretty sure none of you did as well. But from the looks of it, it looks like that's also fiction. So as we go down this list, he also was the executive producer for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition, as well as Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, not Ultimate Edition. As you can see, those are two different movies. As you know, Batman v Superman, that is also a fictional movie. The point I'm trying to make here is that Christopher Nolan has a history of making fake movies. He produced all of the Batman movies. He also made Inception. Now, as far as I'm aware, I thought that Inception was also based on true events, but judging by how we're looking at all of this, I'm going to have to assume that he was also lying about Inception. But point is that it looks like the majority of his movies are indeed fictional and not based on true events. So, I mean, come on. The guy has a history of making fake movies, so it's kind of up his alley to assume that he's going to be, BSing you when it comes to this supposed based on true events kind of movie, and that really just makes my nipples, what's something Moist Critical would say here? Nipples, like hard, twisting, flaming. Help me out here, guys. Help me out here. Yeah, I'm breaking the fourth wall right now. Can you give me? Oh, you got a good point there. It really just makes my nipples fall off, just by how disappointing this is. So, personally, I'm going to start a hate campaign against Christopher Nolan. If you do know him in real life, please tell him that I think he's a stupid doo-doo head. Let me take a look at some other stuff he's known for. Let me check Wikipedia. It says he was born on July 30th, 1970. Now, that's probably a straight-up lie, I'm going to be honest. Knowing this guy's full of lies, how can we trust anything he says? Quite honestly speaking. He says he has grossed $5 billion worldwide. That's very disappointing to hear that somebody has made $5 billion off of tricking audiences. But hey, I don't judge how you make money. Personally, myself, I cook cocaine and meth exclusively, so I guess I'm no one to judge people, but I think that personally what Christopher Nolan is doing is a lot longer. Let me check the Audacity file. Okay, it looks like I'm already at 10 minutes, but I do have some cuts in here, so I'm going to have to go another like 2 minutes. Let me see how else I can extend this video. As you can see, I am currently monetized now on YouTube, so I'm trying to make as much money as possible off of doing as little work as possible. Sorry, I was kind of dozing off there. I don't know what I was talking about. His father's name was Brendan. Now, I don't know if I can trust that. I mean, as I mentioned, he has a history of lying. So, is this entertaining, guys? Let me find something a little more entertaining. Hang on. What would Moist Critical do at the end of his video? Hang on. I'm gonna watch one of his recent videos. Moist Critical. I'm currently on YouTube right now, which is where Moist Critical plays or puts his videos on. So I assume that it's a very trusted internet site. Okay, so he made a video called "This Invisible House is Horrible." I'm gonna put my headphones on and listen to what he does at the end, just so I can kind of replicate that, because this guy gets views. Let's see here. Okay, so I was just looking, and he said, "That's about it. See ya." So I'm going to try and replicate something like that. Looks like I can kind of cut this video off at this point. It's already been more than 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm very disappointed in Christopher Nolan and the entire franchise. Or not franchise, sorry. I'm not going to cut that out because it's extra time. I'm very disappointed in Christopher Nolan, as well as the entire film production crew, for all of them to sit and lie for clicks like that. So just so you guys know, no, Interstellar was not filmed in space, as they may claim otherwise. You heard it from me. And yeah, that's about it. Hello. Ah, fuck, hang on, I screwed it up. I'm not saying hello, because, I mean, we've already been talking for like the past 12 minutes. I'm supposed to say goodbye. Let me try that again. And that's about it. See ya. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Okay, goodbye, guys.